everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I'm Alex. I make book and lifestyle and coaching and business content. Welcome in. In today's video, we have a very exciting one. It is my 2024 reading wrap up. So this video is everything I have read in 2024, bar the end of December. So this is a Vlogmas video, as you can very well tell from the title. We are on the final day of our 12 days of Vlogmas. It has been incredible, but we are wrapping up 2024 all the way up until the 12th of December. So there might be a few last minute additions that I will include on my December wrap up when we complete December. But up until this point, this is everything I have read in 2024. I'm so excited for this one. So to my counting, I have completed 36 books, start to finish, in 2024. This doesn't include all the books I started and didn't finish. This doesn't include the books I DNF'd. This is just every book I've completed in 2024. So realistically, the number is a little bit higher considering all the books I've started but not finished. However, these are the completed books. So I'm going to run you through all of the names. I'm not going to do author names. Hopefully by just the names you can guess which author has done these books. So the first book of the year was The Poppy War, followed swiftly by Mile High. We then began the Throne of Glass series. So Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight. We interjected that with a little bit of Magnolia Parks. Followed by Air of Fire, Daisy Hates, Queen of Shadows, Empire of Storms, Magnolia Parks, The Long Way Home, and Tower of Dawn, finally completing the Throne of Glass series with Kingdom of Ash. So that was the first 12 books of the year. We began with Starling House, Once Upon a Broken Heart, Realm Breaker, the series began, Daisy Hates the Great Undoing, Ballad of Never After, Magnolia Parks Into the Dark, Done and Dusted, A Curse for True Love, Wild Love, Caraval as our next, 12, as our next 12 books. So this was kind of like mid-year, around summertime. We were in our kind of fantasy and love story, romance kind of era here. This then continued into Yours Truly, Hex Appeal, Phantasma, Pumpkin Spice Cafe, The Secret Sister, Blade Breaker, which is, love it, The Door-to-Door Bookstore, Legendary, Six of Crows, Swift and Saddled, and then into our final reads of the year. Up until this point, we've got Fate Breaker, Spark of the Everflame, Glow of the Everflame, and Heat of the Everflame. So that is the 36 books I have completed this year so far. I think that's a really well-rounded list. I'm really proud of getting to 36 completed books. This, again, doesn't include all the other ones, but for every book I've completed, to come up to 36 books, I know for some people that is literally like their Q1 reading target. But for me, I'm so proud with all the things I've had going on this year, starting my Booktube properly. I think that's a really, really great number. So I'm very proud of that one. This year was kind of exclusively fantasy and romance. I only got to like one non-fiction book and one general fiction book. So The Door-to-Door Bookstore was my general fiction book. There was no romance in that whatsoever. And I think my non-fiction one was like a health focused one. So it wasn't really on my like books of 2024 list because it was just kind of work related. But if you can't tell, I am a fantasy, romantasy, sometimes romance lover. So it kind of takes a fair bit to convince myself to go to any other kind of genre. Sometimes I'm dipping into YA. I feel like I've done that a fair bit this year just because of the types of books I've been reading. But really I try and stick to adult fiction and adult fantasy because it's just the reading that gives me the most pleasure. So I kind of really interject fantasy. No, sorry. My main baseline is fantasy and I interject romance as like a downtime read. So when I've been really deep in my world building, heavy, high fantasy, it's nice to come back down to earth a little bit with some kind of like harmless romance, a little bit of smart, a little bit of spice, and to kind of like recalibrate, ready to get into another heavy world building fantasy series. So one of my aims for 2025 is to pick up Brandon Sanderson's work, because I know that is going to be epic, high fantasy, sci-fi reading, and it's just going to hit all the spots in my lover heart of all of those things. So we had a very strong fantasy year this year. We kicked off with the Throne of Glass series. That was in the very early part of 2024. I really enjoyed the Throne of Glass series. Book 1, as you know, if you've if you've watched my Throne of Glass review, is a spoiler vlog of me reading the Throne of Glass series and like all my thoughts. So if you've already read the Throne of Glass series start to finish, definitely check that out. I hated I hated Throne of Glass, the first book, but getting into the series after that was honestly so addictive. I didn't want to put the books down. Sarah knows how to create a gripping fantasy romantasy series. So I very much enjoyed Throne of Glass. That was a very strong start to the year. We kind of carried on there with the fantasy mystical elements with a lot of Stephanie Garber work. So we started the Caraval series. I've got one book left in that. We started and finished the what is the name of this book? Hold on. What is it called? The Once Upon a Broken Heart series. So we started and finished that series. We're finishing off the year strong, like so strong, with Victoria Aveyard's Realmbreaker series. This series will have a place in my heart forever. And then finishing the year with the Spark of the Everflame series. So I feel like from all of those reads, I've had like a really well-rounded, very strong 4.25 and above kind of reading adventure. And that is so good. Like all of those books, I'd be very happy to reread. And I'm just really happy with the fantasy genre that I've kind of forayed into this year. One series within fantasy that I will definitely be coming back to is the book I started 2024 with, and that was the Poppy War series. I think the author is R.F. Kuang, if I'm correct, the author of also Babel. That is also on my 2025 list. Oh, there's so many books. My TBR list is incredibly long. But it was such a strong book, and I would definitely love to continue that series. So The Dragon Republic, I think, is the second book in the series that is on my TBR list, very, very high for 2025. So maybe it'll feature in January's, and we'll kick off the year again with R.F. Kuang's work. We'll see. I won't tease my January TBR just yet, but hopefully it'll be a good one. Moving on to the romance genre, we had a fairly strong romance category this year. I feel like most things were in the 3-star category. There were a few things that hit the 4-star category. So we kind of had a year of romance through the Magnolia Park series by Jessa Hastings. We had the Rebel Blue Ranch series with Lila Sage. And we had the Rose Hill series with Elsie Silver. So the one-off romances, kind of like Hex Appeal and Yours Truly, Book Lovers, those all kind of fared quite well. They weren't like amazing. I nearly DNF'd some of them, but they ended up finishing a bit stronger. So it was like kind of not my fave, not the worst year of romance. It was kind of like middly. I'm quite happy with it being middly because I feel like sometimes I rant and rave quite strongly and very impassioned about the romance genre because it's just like such a roller coaster turbulence of writing styles and writing quality for me that I really don't know and trust many people's opinions when it comes to romances. I feel like it's a very unique set and trope types that I enjoy reading in romance, whereas I feel like a lot of people who love the romance genre, they love so many of the tropes and types within the genre, so like everything can get it. But for me, it's a little bit different. I'm such a fantasy romancy lover that the depth and world and plot surrounding the romance make much more of a difference for me which is just a struggle to get in romance books because obviously the nature of the book, you're having a love story. So yeah, I'm rambling here, but I feel like I've enjoyed romance this year. I despise the Magnolia Park series, so talking about that is kind of separate to the rest of the romances I've read this year. I would never reread the Magnolia Park series. If there was another book that came out about it, I'd probably read it just to see what was happening. But yeah, not my favourite. For my goals of 2024, two of them in particular I want to talk about because there were a few goals. I feel like most of them I kind of hit. We don't really need to talk about them. But the two most important ones for me were beating the number of books last year. So I read 42 books last year. We're in 36 completed books this year. So I've got a fair few still to go, but I'm really confident that by the end of this year, by January 1st, we will have beaten 42 books. At the point of filming this video, no, I have not. Do I believe in my soul? I've got the determination to get that number done. Yes, I do. So I'm really, really on track with beating that number. I always get quite a few books done in December because there's just a lot more downtime. There's a lot more time to relax. There's a lot more holidaying time. So I very quickly get through books, especially because one of my biggest Christmas gifts are books. So I end up just like hammering through pages, especially after Christmas. So I really believe I'll hit that. I will check in with you on this goal in my January or my December like wrap ups. I'll let you know how I did. But yeah, I'm really proud of this goal. I'm really proud of how far I've got with it so far. The next one is my ratings and reviews. So something I spoke about in one of my earlier Booktube videos was the fact that I really wanted to up my game with my ratings and my reviews so that I'm actually collecting my thoughts in a detailed but concise way. I'm getting all of my thoughts in one place and regularly updating them throughout the reading journey. So not just when I finish a book do I give it a full review. I want to collect my thoughts, my what's the word here? I don't want to say misconceptions, but like this is the kind of thing the misconceptions and my predictions and things like that as I read a book, rather than just at the end giving it a rating and like saying, oh, I liked this bit, I liked this bit, I didn't like this bit. So I want to kind of catch that throughout books. I did get very strong at doing this. However, as the workload got a little bit heavier towards the end of the year, I definitely slacked with this. But conversely to that, although it wasn't written, it was recorded. So I feel like I'm pretty proud of this goal. I feel like I've hit it to the best of my abilities with everything I've had going on this year. So I'm actually quite proud of the fact that I've created these kind of video journals and video ratings and reviews of my thoughts with like my wrap-ups and my expectations with my TBR videos and things. So I'm quite proud of the video element, if not the written element of tracking my ratings and reviews. In this video, I wanted to just detail my top 10 reads of the year because I feel like recapping the whole year is great, but also what were your top 10 reads? Because I need to know. So for me, my top 10 reads will start from the bottom up. Number 10 was Heat of the Everflame this year. I feel like I was gripped to this book. I didn't want to put it down. I wanted to know what's happening next. I lacked sleep in order to get a few extra chapters in. I sacrificed time doing other things like watching TV and cooking nutritious meals so that I could get a few extra chapters in of this book. So Heat of the Everflame I think was a very strong book in this trilogy. So this is book 3 in the Spark of the Everflame series. I feel like this series is just perpetually getting better as we uncover more, as we see more, as we get more context to the whole situation. I'm just like, oh my god, give me more context, give me more plotline, give me more romantasy, like just give it to me. So I'm really enjoying Heat of the Everflame and the Spark of the Everflame series so far. I don't know what the actual name of this series is. I think it's a different name, like the Kindred Saga or something. But yeah, very much enjoying this series. Number 9 in my 10 reads is A Curse for True Love. This is the conclusion to the Once Upon a Broken Heart series by Stephanie Garber. I feel like this book just really finished out the series strong. I really enjoyed the way Stephanie took the plot line. I've really enjoyed the characters. It was just such a whimsical, fun book, and it was kind of unlike, obviously, the rest of the series, but like unlike any of the other fantasy reads from the rest of the year. It was just quite different. It was like more of a fairy tale style fantasy book, and I just really enjoyed it. It kind of gave me vibes of like Holly Black, but like there were no tails involved. There were no tails involved. It was a little bit less fairy and a little bit more whimsical, I feel. So yeah, I really enjoyed A Curse of True Love. Book number 8 is The Door-to-Door Bookstore. This was a 5-star read for me, and I think about this book regularly. It is such a heartwarming and heart-wrenching kind of book. There was just so much about this book that really like touched my soul as a reader. Sorry, my collar's shifting up. This book really touched my soul as a reader, and I feel like I just really connected deeply with all of the characters. I don't know if it was just the moment I read this book that made it so 5-star, like mesmerizing, or if it's just the way the story was told that I connected so deeply with it, but I didn't expect to love this book, and I really did. So this takes spot number 8 on my top 10 reads. Number 7 is Leigh Bardugo's Six of Crows. This is just such a strong first book in a duology for me. I enjoyed this book from start to finish. Again, I didn't want to put it down. Once I kind of got back into the world, I just didn't want to put this book down. I really wanted to see what happens next. I was gripped. I was constantly wondering what was going to happen because I just couldn't predict it. I just didn't know. I really didn't have any strong, solid predictions on how these characters were going to get out of the situation that they were put in. So definitely enjoyed this. Number 6 is Air of Fire. This is, I think, the 3rd or 4th book in the Throne of Glass series, so I won't talk about it too much, but I felt like the way Sarah developed 2 of our main characters within this story gripped me. Like, this story was the pivotal point in that series that determined whether I was going to binge the rest of it or just like slowly flip through like pages and chapters. Air of Fire really set the standard, I think, for the rest of the series. It raised the bar of writing. It really connected us on a deeper level to the characters, and it was at that point in Air of Fire where I was like, okay, I'm writing for these characters. I want to know what happens next. I need the next books. Give me everything. So I feel like Air of Fire was one of the strongest books within this series, and I just really enjoyed it. Spot 5 and Spot 4 are both also taken by later books in the Throne of Glass series. So Spot 5 is Tower of Dawn and Spot 4 is Kingdom of Ash. I feel like Tower of Dawn was my least anticipated book in this whole series, and it was one of the books that gripped me the most. I loved the telling of this story. I loved the character, the main female character in the story. I really enjoyed the flow of it, the pacing of it, the like difference between Tower of Dawn and all the rest of the series. It was kind of like a completely different style book, and I think it really showcased Sarah's ability to incorporate a very separate story that kind of became the bloodline of the rest of the series. And yeah, I just really enjoyed Tower of Dawn. I didn't read it as a tandem read. I know you could read it as a tandem read. I didn't end up doing it, but I feel like when I do my next reread of the Throne of Glass series, I will attempt a tandem read and see if that kind of skews my perception of Tower of Dawn or whether it just makes me love it more. Kingdom of Ash was the epic conclusion of the Throne of Glass series. I won't say too much more other than it was quite epic. It did disappoint me in some areas. I thought maybe the plot could have been enhanced in some areas, but it really was just like a tying the knot together, bringing everything to a smooth conclusion, and it was just quite satisfying in that sense. So this takes spot number 4. It was a great series. You probably can guess what takes spot 3, spot 2 and spot 1. In the order, I don't know, but spot 3 is Realm Breaker. Spot 2 is Blade Breaker, and spot 1 is Fate Breaker. This series has taken the cake. It has swept up. It has taken all the awards. It has taken the ceiling off, like the building, whatever the saying is. Taken the roof down, pulled the roof down, broke the ceiling, smashed the ceiling, something like that. Some kind of breaking of ceilings kind of analogy. This series has done that for me. This has set the standard, I think, for all the rest of the romances, fantasies, journey and epic novels that I want to read in the future. I will ride for Victoria Aveyard. Anyone who dislikes her writing dislikes me personally, and that is all I have to say about that. No, like I said in my November wrap up, there is just so much about this series that I will absolutely ride for. This is a hill I will punch my sword through, go 10 toes down for. I just loved the Realm Breaker series. I was so deeply connected with all of the characters. I was so deeply invested in the result of the series. I cried and screamed and laughed and blushed and like wanted to strangle people in this series. It really gave me everything. It really took me for a loop, and I would be hurt in this pain and in this way over and over again just to read this series again. So Vic, I love you. You're my favourite author ever. This is my favourite series probably ever, and if you haven't read the Realm Breaker series and absolutely lived and died for it, we have nothing more to talk about. Those are my top 10 reads of the year. I wanted to just finish off this 2024 recap with a little nod to the Booktube community. So I've really loved the Booktube community this year. I've loved being a part of it. I've loved watching other creators. I've loved the discussions we've had going on. And I feel like as a community, we've enjoyed so much of the same things. We've enjoyed the same kind of books. We've enjoyed being present in the seasons together. Like, I feel like we've really romanticized and brought ourselves back to the present and out of like the social media space. Obviously, although we're watching booktubers, we've really like made ourselves fall in love with drinking matcha and coffee and pumpkin spice lattes, but like in a very present way. We've enjoyed sharing book club moments and talking about books online and reading recommendations and all these kind of things. I feel like 2024 for the Booktube community was just so lovely to be part of. I'm so glad I got to contribute to some of it. I'm so glad I got to consume a lot of it as well. And yeah, I feel like we've just been creating a really safe, present, wholesome space this year, and I really hope that continues into 2025. I hope we keep romanticizing the small things, the bookmarks, the little coffees, the Kindle stickers, like all of it has just been so wonderful to watch and be a part of, and I just really hope this continues in 2025. So yeah, I've really loved it. Thank you for watching me, honestly, and thank you for letting me be a part of our community. I love it here and I want to stay. So if you also love it here and want me to stay too, definitely make sure you subscribe and make sure you leave comments on my videos so I know that you are enjoying them too. This has been my 2024 reading wrap up. I've loved this video. I've loved this time in Vlogmas. Thank you so much for watching. If you've invested your time in any single of the Vlogmas videos, any of my Booktube videos this year so far, thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting me. That is all from me. I won't keep you too long. I will see you in my next video, which is probably going to be a December reading wrap up or a vlog or some kind of video like that. I love you guys and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.